Great. And we're also streaming live.
All right, we are ready to go. I'll press record.
Wonderful. That's ours. It's starting to be like my centering, cue. We are now being recorded. Welcome, everyone. This is, as I said a few minutes earlier, the Surrender Room with the beautiful Miss Laura, who is here with us. And just a quick intro before we get into the surrendering. I know you're super yearning to do that already and get started with it. My name is Patricia. I am in Mexico at the moment. Hopefully we can get to travel someplace soon. But we're happy to have you with us for this post, which the title for the session is Active Quitting and Surrendering for the Brave. So this is part of the Embodied Masterclasses week, and we would love to hear from you guys, those of you who could type up in the chat, whether you're here in the Zoom room or on the Facebook on the live stream. If this is your first session, please let us know. Also, let us know how many sessions you've attended so far. That way we can get an idea of what's cooking for everyone.
Wow, 3.
So 1 a day, I assume. So people who are centered and balanced. 7, great. Here are our people who are getting the intensive 3. Okay, wonderful. Great. So a little bit about EYP. Those of you who've been to 7 sessions already know and have a feel of what EYP is, but EYP is a method where we used yoga transitioning into psychology. And this is a way, and I really love one of Mark's phrases where he says, this is yoga not for your hamstrings, but for your life. And we're gonna get a taste of what that is in a very precise area of your life, which is surrender, which Sarah will be discussing, explaining, teaching, and sharing in just a bit. Again, if you're here, we would love to have you with your cameras on if you are able to. If you're on the live stream, don't worry, we're not able to see you. So you're okay, whatever's happening on the other side. Wonderful. We would also love to hear from you. Are you here as a yoga teacher? Are you already teaching yoga and you're curious to know how you could apply EYP into your regular practice? Or as a coach, are you here as a coach? And would love to find this somatic element and integrate it into your clients' work. Or are you here as a regular person, which we all are, but if your intention is mostly for your personal growth and your personal discovery and exploration, which also happens to lots of us who are also coaches and yoga teachers and all of that. But do let us know what your intentions are, where you're coming from. Practice yoga a lot, personal and therapy. Great, thank you. This is gonna be an hour-long session, and we're gonna be covering a little bit of all of these aspects. We're gonna be experiencing EYP and surrender for our personal experience and our everyday life, but we're gonna get into how we can apply it into coaching a little bit, as well as in a yoga class setting. Yeah, so have your questions ready. If you have them, we can pass them on to Laura. Wonderful. We would also like to talk to you about an opportunity to win a free spot on the EYP teacher training course, which is worth $1,399. Simply head over to our Facebook post and share it and tag to a friend to enter. Steve here. Oh, Steve, let me introduce beautiful Steve, who's working always so diligently behind the scenes. He's posting that link right on the chat. And if you would like to enter this opportunity, you'll just can follow the link and tag a friend, and you're already entered into this. It's called a competition, right? Wonderful. And right before we start, Steve will also show us a little video about what EYP training is like.
What the EYP course for coaches has to offer you is a way to shift things from getting stuck in the head and getting into the body. These very simple forms can be done in normal clothing, in any setting, anywhere, and you can then begin to look at the patterns that might be keeping your clients stuck. As a coach, I use this mostly with my clients with intimacy and relationship and communication, and as soon as I get them to move from the cerebral part of the conversation and getting them down and into their body.
See yourself as you see other people, because I have a very critical eye at the moment.
So when you sign up, there's plenty of support available to you. We have a private Facebook group that you are welcome to join. We have monthly Q&A calls, so you get a lot of ideas of how other people are using the same things.
Locking that in.
Thank you, Steve. We will be sharing all of these links at the end as well, so you have time to go over them. There are different packages if you would like to purchase any of these trainings, either for coaches or for yoga teachers, if you're already a yoga teacher, and you will get all of the recordings of these masterclasses that are happening this week included in those packages. And also a great bonus is you get to have the Zoom link to come in and be able to join us in these sessions, as we are with some people already here in the Zoom room. So let's get started. So with us is Laura Victoria Ward. She's a choreographer and teacher, founder of Glittersize, Move Dance Play, and Octavia Cup Dance Theater with a background in Laban, Bartniff, I'm hopefully pronouncing that well, movement analysis, dance movement, and theater. Mike's yours, Laura.
Okay, thank you. And I am looking at these beautiful faces in my screen, doing my own little moment of social centering. Some of you I have seen before, and some of you I have talked to a bunch about this EYP and this pose surrender. So I just want to start the way I start almost all of my classes with you guys. And I'm going to do this big because I need to get a little yang, a little energy out before I can go in. So I'm going to invite you to take this at whatever size, whatever speed, whatever rate is going to serve you today. So I do want to do the breaths, but before I do the breaths, I'm going to talk about the 3 C's. First, choice and consent. You decide what you do. Everything is an invitation and an inquiry. And that's a big important thing with embodiment work, because we are learning in this work what's really real for us. It's not what I think it should be, but what you in your body, what feels alive and real for you, and that you are the expert on your own body because you have lived in it your whole life. So nobody else can own that. And I think that's a really important thing. So that's the first one, choice. Self-care goes right with choice. Is it wise and skillful to do any of these things right now? Do you have the resources in your body, in this moment, in your energy field, in your family, whatever, in the things that are affecting you? Is this going to resource you more, or is it going to draw from you? So that's always something to notice what's happening. And then the last one is confidentiality. And so that is anything that anybody writes in the chat or anything I say. Just kidding. Everything I say is not confidential. It is shared. It is with the whole world. So if I repeat one of your questions that might come up, just be aware that this will be shared in the package that goes with the EYP training. So one more thing I want to say, just what we're actually doing with this before we breathe. I was supposed to start with the 3 best, but before we breathe, what we're doing here, we're training our awareness. We're coming into sensation and we're noticing what's happening in our bodies. And this is my one little trigger. If you find that something is triggering for you, play with it. Be playful. Let it go. Don't take it too seriously. It doesn't have to be heavy. Just be like, oh, okay. Oh, that's here. Oh, hello. Because sometimes when we can establish some kind of relationship with those triggers, they're there for a reason. They're information, and if we have some more resource, we can play with that information. Now we're going to breathe. So I'm going to start standing. And I do have to say that I promised Lord Gaylord would be here, and he is. he's got his back to us because he's already surrendered. He doesn't care. He doesn't need to learn anything about this, but he's there surrendering. And I'm just going to breathe 3 huge breaths, inhaling into the space around me, feeling what it feels like to be in my body. And on my exhale, I'm going to let go, just letting go. Actively surrendering. It's easy. Inhale, fill up, expand, get bigger. Feel your body growing with that breath. And then on the exhale, maybe a little softening and releasing. And one more, final one, inhale, inviting the heart to open up, bringing the awareness into the full sensation of your body from your fingertips to your feet on the floor. And then exhale, letting the arms come down. And I'm going to come back into sitting. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about this surrender idea and my preparation for it. So I have my own ideas about what surrender is, but full disclosure, I am not an EYP teacher. I'm a somatics teacher. I'm a Laban movement analyst. I'm a choreographer and an artist. And I do a lot of things. I'm a maximalist. But what I really like about it is how it's archetypal. Like when something is archetypal, it means that we have a relationship with it. Everyone has a relationship with it. And we each have maybe a slightly different relationship with it. So in preparation for doing this, I talked to 4 different EYP teachers, Patty, who's here, Sarah Martin, Dana Levy, and Sarah Lindgren. I'm not really sure how to say her last name, but Sarah L, great EYP lover, and practitioner who did a session on transcendence. So I gathered from them their ideas about it and discussed my ideas about it to come to my question of, am I an imposter teaching this? Or do I have my own relationship with this thing? And can I share something that's going to be of value to you? And I know that imposter syndrome has come up a lot in listening to other people's sessions in this. And even in the embodiment world, like it's always possible that we're not the best. We're not the expert. We really don't know. And I have to say that that's a magical place to be in a place where I don't know the answer. Because if I don't know the answer, there's so much possibility to finding out answers. So just as we go in, what is your relationship with surrendering? Are you an expert? Are you so good at letting go? Are you a novice? Are you somebody who's like, oh my God, I do whatever I can not to surrender? Are you somebody who wants to surrender? I would like to, but not quite into it. Or do you resist it? So you can type in the chat. How do you feel about surrendering? What does it bring up for you? It could be super triggering. There can be so much. Is it a big thing? Is it a little thing? How do you feel? Terror. Wow, Mel, thanks for that little piece of honesty. Yeah, getting in, New York Real. And just to let you know, also, I'm in the Hudson Valley. I did not rename myself as we were talking and doing all sorts of things. So I'm surrendering into this land, into this earth, into the ground. So anybody else have anything besides terror or being expert? Ambivalence, uncertainty. It is a release. It's a place of letting go. So what I want to offer in the very beginning of this, as we choose how we enter into this ground, is the possibility that you could do it very small. You could do it very big. You can back off. You can enter. You can leave. You can really take it however it feels good to you, however it feels resourceful and skillful, however it feels intelligent. My default is to be in control. And yes, I'm a leader. I have a dance company. I'm a teacher. I'm usually the person in charge when I'm in a situation. What happens when I let go of that? Can I let someone else step up and take charge? Do I want someone else to step up and take charge? And as I get older, I do want to let go of something. So I see type A personality. So here's my next question. What does surrender mean to you? What does it mean? Why surrender? What does it mean to you right now? Because every moment could be a different moment, but what does the idea of surrendering mean to you right now? Not having to be in do mode, not having to solve. Yeah. Some trepidation while waiting, letting someone else do something, new possibilities, right? Yeah. Acceptance without resistance, accepting something better, making room for that, opening. Yeah. and letting go. So when in my talks with Patty and Mel and and Dana and Sarah, one of the things you're like, is there like an archetype for it? Is there like an actual archetype for surrender? And some people like, so I'm going to ask you that. Can you think of an archetype for surrender? So, I mean, there's the obvious, we're at war and one side can't take it anymore. The losses are too big. They're going to surrender. They're going to give up fighting. They're going to stop resisting. They're going to back down. So that's like a big one, right? What other types of surrendering can we do? And who? Surrender only means walking across the battle lines and joining the winning side. Wow, that's a great, I like that. Nice, Chris. Letting go and letting life organically flow. Letting go of the attachment to the outcome, giving up something. Exactly. Giving orgasm. Thank you for saying that. Yes. And that's going to lead us into a little bit of times 2. Who will I be when I let go and surrender? Uncertainty and excitement for new growth, replenishing control, unity. Oh, possibility. This is all coming from the YouTube channel and the Facebook stream. So there's a lot of stuff. Letting go of self-judgment. Stop fighting for something is beyond your control. New paths that the universe knows better than me. Defenselessness. Letting go of the outcome. Persephone. Great. So that's wonderful. So in my research and in my own knowledge, there's another great archetypal system, and that's the tarot. So this is not an EYP thing, but it's another system of looking at archetypes. And in the tarot, the biggest archetype for surrender is the Hanged Man. And actually, my boyfriend is an artist and has made a tarot card for the Hanged Man. So I'm going to show it to everybody. And it is a man hanging upside down, suspended by one foot with his arms tied behind his back. And this could be something that is like, oh, it's a punishment, or it could also be something that's like, there's nothing you can do right now. So let go and just wait. That's all there is. There's nothing you can do right now. So let go and wait. And to me, that's the real surrender. Yeah, that's the real surrender when it's like, oh, I have to let go. I'm going to feel better if I let go. So I want to do another breath thing. So this is a Laban breathing. And I know we've done some, I know that there's been some directional breathing that Sarah L was teaching. This is a slightly different version of the 6 directions in breathing. And I'm going to use my hands to help connect to it. So I'm first going to connect to my vertical axis, my up and down, by breathing up and down. And I'm just going to use my hands to show it. So I'm not just going up or just going down. I'm doing both at the same time. So I would say I'm lengthening. So in my lengthening, I'm going to lengthen up and lengthen down at the same time. And then I'm going to shrink back into myself. So we might say that the inhaling, filling up is the yang moment, and the exhaling and releasing is the yin moment. It's the letting go. It's the tiny surrender. Inhaling, filling up, growing, exhaling, letting go, and shrinking. So we can do that up and down. We can also do it side to side. And I'm teaching you this because I feel like when we get into the pose, it's great to use this. So side to side, and it's also a way of centering. We're going to use the horizontal dimension. So I'm going to inhale into my width. And I'm going to do it like I'm doing like a Tai Chi exercise or playing with the ball of Chi. So I'm going to inhale, widening, and then exhale, narrowing in. Inhale, widening, opening, exhale, narrowing in, maybe closing. One more time. Inhale, open and widen, and exhale, close and narrow. And then we're going to take it forward, backward. So we're going in both directions at the same time. So I'm not just breathing into the front and then into the back. I'm breathing into the depth of my body, the sagittal dimension. And then I'm exhaling, letting it come back into myself. Inhaling forward and backward. And exhaling, coming in. And one more, inhale, forward and backward. And exhale, letting it go. So sometimes when we work with breath, if we aren't used to doing it, it can make us feel lightheaded or like flighty. It could make us more airy, or it could make us feel like uncomfortable. So if that is you, don't do it. Just breathe normally. You don't have to do any kind of extra breathing. But I want to also imagine that we are just like a ball. And on the inhale, the whole ball is expanding, getting bigger. And on the exhale, The whole ball is coming to itself and getting smaller. And one more like that. Whole ball is expanding and the whole ball is getting smaller. So there is some sort of expansion and then coming back into self. And a lot of that coming back into self is surrender, but it can also be just letting go and dropping down. I'm coming in, I'm coming home. And if I do it with like a slight enclosing and drop my head, I'm coming into a small version of the pose. We'll get into the big pose in a little while. I know I should probably do it now, but there's so many things I want to tell you. So the one thing I want to say, and I just want to put this out there and honor it, is that Anna Halprin died today, and she is like one of the mothers of dance in the US. And she has helped me deal with something that I have needed to surrender, and that is being an aging dancer, being an aging woman. So how do we go with that? So and I'm going to tell you a little bit about that, but I want you to think of things for you. What might be helpful to be able to be in a surrendered way with? What might allow you to surrender into something that would make you feel easier, that would make your life feel more integrated, more congruent? Are there things in your life that you could surrender? So for me, it's surrendering the fight with aging, right? Like I don't need to fight with it. I'm doing it. It's what's happening. And I'm going to tell you my Anna Halprin story. There's a movie called Breath Made Visible that's about her life. And it goes through her life with dance and all the different things she did. But there's one section where she continued to make dances and to perform, right up until the end. There's a video of her kind of wrapped in some cloth, lying on a beach at the edge of the water. And the waves are just hitting her and retreating. And like, it actually makes me want to cry, because it gave me one of the first images of this amazing person living their life in integrity, still doing what they do. So I was able to let go of some of my ideas about what aging dancers look like. What is an aging dancer? I was able to surrender and see a beautiful image of this woman in the water, surrendered to the movement of the water in this costume, and just seeing that image, and like it blew my mind and gave me I don't want to say inspiration, but I want to say a feeling of, oh, it's okay. It's okay. This letting go is okay. So I'm going to take us into the pose. Did anyone write anything in there? My air is coming out. You've got lots of archetypes coming up in there, which are wonderful. So I'm going to take us into the pose. It is Balasana, also known as child's pose. And I have to say that while I'm not a yoga teacher, I am a yoga practitioner, and I teach a mat class, and a very somatically based mat class. And I almost always come into this pose, and I always say, surrender, let go. Like, it's such a place to release. So I'm going to do it on my knees on the floor. You could do this seated. Everything is for whatever your body's capacities are. Adapt. Use your own intelligence to go. You could just fold forward with your hands up. That could be it, seated in a chair. So any kind of version of this that feels right to you, we're going to let you do that. I'm just going to turn off the chat, which is taking over my whole screen. Okay, and as you can see, I've got someone very nicely surrendered here next to me. So I'm putting my legs, my heels are under my butt. I could do this open, my arms out in front of me, dropping my head down. Or I could do it closed. And remember that the point of this right now isn't to get exercise or to stretch your back or anything like that. It's to come into this relationship with surrender. What does it feel like? So I'm going to invite you to come down into that pose. And if I put my head all the way down, I can't talk to you. So I'm going to be in this semi pose. And just feel what it feels like to be letting your body drop into gravity. And I want to throw this idea of the gravitational pull of the earth, holding you to the earth. So as you're down there, surrendering into gravity, the earth is holding you. It's giving you something back. There is earth underneath you, accepting your weight, feeling you as you are surrendering into it. And then if it's comfortable to stay down there, I want to just invite you to feel that three-dimensional breathing again, if you can. And sometimes if we can really exhale, then we can really inhale. So just allowing yourself, if it's comfortable, to stay down there and just focus on the aliveness of your breath. Exhaling everything that you can, letting go, and then filling up. So I'm going to invite you to either stay there or come out of it, but I'm going to come back to the screen. And one thing that we talked about, and me and Patty talked about it especially, was when surrendering, when you're an artist, when you're making a project, or when you're working on something where you're collaborating with other people, there's a moment where you have to let go of the control. One of the other archetypes we came up, but up until that point, you are really engaged with it. So it's not like collapse. That might be the shadow side of letting go. It's like, it's a very, okay, now I'm letting go of this. I'm handing it over. This could be like for parents with their children, right? Where there's work, there's family relationship in our life. So how do we feel? I feel free to come out of that. So the idea with the EYP, if you're happy down there and you maybe you're coming to some insights or noticing something, just listen into what is being said to you. What information is coming from your body? What are your cells speaking? What is happening? What's familiar in this? Where else do you need it in your life? Or what can you think of that this might work for? Oh, my people in the room, you're so beautiful. Everyone's down there surrendering in their child's poses. You can also take your hands down by your sides. Like there's versions of this. You can be in any kind of child's pose. And I want to just add this idea, especially for the yogis. If you are in this surrender pose and it becomes triggering, just let it be child's pose. It doesn't have to be a big thing, or it can be, but listen into the stories that your body and mind are telling you. So it's super easy to go on and on about this. And I want to start shifting into how does this affect you in work, and how would this affect your clients? So feel free to come out of that. Maybe even writing in the chat if anything came up for you. Accepting life going on, feminine, knowing that it is not everything is up to me. For me, the pandemic was the period I had to learn the state, rest, coming home, giving up responsibility. Thank you. I'm going to read a poem. So this poem is by Brooke McNamara. She was the poet laureate of the Embodiment Conference and quite a wonderful person. And so here's the poem. I feel like this somewhat relates more to the working world. So maybe clients or even you with your own work. It's called Low Down Now. Stop planning. It's not going to work this time. There are better ways to do this, and you know it. Let's take a moment to pause and imagine pulling the rug out from under our own feet. Can you see me reaching down, tugging, grunting, crashing on my own ass? Ridiculous. But it's good. It's so good for us to fold, my friend. Low down now. Let's crawl. A quiet, curving way forward from our guts. Let's sniff for what, if we were wild again, would feed us and feed us to the whole. So that's Brooke McNamara. Yeah. And I feel like that's a good thing. You know, we can come into this. I was like, do you have any poems about surrender? And she actually sent me 3. So that was the one that I felt like fit into this chunk of time and space that we are all in together. I hated it and was too tired to fight it. So I guess I liked it. Felt like I was being pulled into the ground, rest, coming home, giving up responsibility. Yeah. When we listen, information can come in. And when we listen to our own bodies and try on these different things, and this is the beauty of the poses of EYP, they have very specific archetypes that relate to them. So just to release that letting go for a second, let's go into something a little bit more young and just open up and take up some space. So let yourself get big. I see that it's mostly women in this room. Steve, thank you for holding some maleness in the Zoom room. But yeah, so let yourself just reach out into the world, expand into whatever you need to expand into. And we would say in sort of dance and movement, your kinesphere, the realm, the bubble of space around you. Yeah. And then let's take, you can stay out there and move as much as you need to, but let's bring it into this idea of working with clients. Working in the corporate world, working with people, coaching, where could you see that this might be valuable? I'm going to ask Patricia to come in and join me now.
Thanks. I actually just thought of something that's not just like regular coaching, but something that actually I had to use for myself. I had been doing all of these like personal work and doing the meditation and doing the yoga and doing the diets and the green juices and all of that. And it became like my life at some point, right? It becomes even like your identity. And at some point, one important thing that I had to do was like, if you're always searching for that, you're never getting there. And I was caught up in the doing because I did not notice that it was all of this personal growth mindset was falling into you're not enough and you need to improve yourself because it's not, you're like, there's no perfect version of yourself and it's always one step ahead. And at some point I really had to stop, and it was not a pretty stuff. And that's why I really like to share about these things. It was not pretty. The process of like pulling back a train and shifting the way, I mean, I kept doing the work that I still do on my own, on myself, but it had to come from a place that I am complete now. So I have to surrender the idea that there's like this perfect version that hasn't happened yet. That's always like forever floating one step ahead of me. And that shifted so much that even my body like physically shifted. It changed. I mean, my body had remained the same ever since I don't know, 15 years ago or something like that. And then it shifted because I really went into, wait, take it a step softer, one step softer. And all of this going forward, whether it's work or like the personal work, you like use that softer element of surrender to what is. And one part of that personal growth is go and change that and go and, kick your own ass. But also a very important part of it, ideally, I think for me, it's sometimes even both are happening at the same time. Accept what is. And really going to surrendering that it might not even change. Because those of you who've been working on this for some time, you know that some things really like to stick, like patterns really tend to stick. And sometimes you change something and you think the next partner will be different, then it's really not. And then you see him again and again, like, okay, maybe I surrender and enjoy life while I'm working on this, while this is changing. And it had to shift, like I said, like not only emotional stuff, but mind stuff and even physical stuff. And a lot of what helped me was integrating this softer surrender part in my physical practice, like my yoga. That's when I went deeper into dancing because it allowed me a little more softer and more surrender to a something else, right? And not to just that mind that's always pushing.
Thank you. I totally relate to that. And it brings up the question of what happens if you don't surrender, right? So who is holding on? We want to hold on to control. And if we hold and hold and hold, like sometimes we're forced to deal with stuff that we don't want to deal with. But if we can start to soften and let go, and this relates very much to my own aging dancer story and embodiment person, movement person, all the stuff. Like I'm a maximalist. I love to move. And I feel like up until I was about 40, I was filling my house, taking 1 million ballet classes, dancers dance all the time. They have to keep doing it, teaching a bunch of classes, doing, making shows, dancing in shows, doing all this stuff. And up to 40, like there was a certain point where I was like, wait a minute, I really need to change my approach because this house is packed. I need to start taking some of the stuff out. And I also had, been working in gyms and like seeing what happens to bodies that are pushing without the soft, without the softening, without the release. So actually I started doing a lot of continuum movement, which is super water. And it was like, oh, I'm unpacking the house. I'm taking the things out. I'm letting go. I'm just here. Anything can happen. I don't need to grasp and reach. And I feel like that's one of the, when we work with awareness and being present within our body, it's not a reaching out for something else. I mean, I can reach out to Patty and say, well, what do you think? But that's not a, Patty has it and I don't. It's just a, let's talk about this. Let's be open in this field and share our information so that we can all glean from it. We all grow when we all grow, right? Like it's not a one thing. And so this community and the people that I've met through this EYP and all the embodiment conference ripples beyond has been really resourceful for me. So another thing I want to say about the surrender pose, it can be the fallow period, right? The field needs to go dormant sometimes. We can't keep, planting the crop over and over again. There needs to be a rotation so that there's freedom for the new things to arrive in there, for new life to come. New life isn't coming if it's all shoved in. So Roxy wrote something great for coaching. For coaching, I would say letting go of control and perhaps for the perfectionist and maybe those with anxiety. Yeah. Or is it too much for those with anxiety? If it's too much, can we do it so small? Is there one little thing that you can surrender? Is there an idea you can surrender? Is there some tiny little tension pattern that's easily surrendered? Is there a place for this that it can be not a huge effort, but is there something, just a tiny thing to let go of? And often it's like, if we think about it, and this is my favorite thing to do. If somebody says, no, I can't think of anything. And then or they say, no, I can't do that. I'll say, well, imagine if you could, what would it be? So when we encounter these resistances in clients or in people that we're working with, even family, when people are like, no, I couldn't do that. I can't do that. It's like, well, can you imagine that you can do it? So if we bring our mind into the imaginal space, there's always an answer. Every single time I say that, they always come up with, well, yeah, it's kind of like this. And it's like, oh, there's an answer in there when we start to peel back the layers. All right. So for yoga teachers, let's talk a little bit about that because I'm going on and on here. And I know that we want to work with these ideas. So I'm just going to say a little piece because I have taught so much in gyms, in like somatic mat classes and stuff like that. And can we go from one thing into a totally different thing? Can we slowly transfer, change, adapt ourselves? And sometimes that could be exhausting, right? So what might be a good pose? Like Balasana is pretty much like an ending pose, right? We've done all this stuff. Now we let go, right? And now just to add one more piece, because I'm also like a crazy anatomist and fascia freak and nervous system interest person, is that when we allow our body a chance to process. When we let go, when we surrender, when we come down and in, we give the nervous system a chance to deal with everything that's been going on. And not just the nervous system, the digestive system, our sleep, all the things where we need to heal, rest, digest, soothe, settle. That doesn't happen if we're going. Like we have to come back into these yin places where we can come into ourselves. So I want to add, this is a continuum breath, and it's also relates to the Fool, whose Hebrew letter is Mem, and it's a continuum breath called Mem, but we're just going to do it as a hum. So this is just another resource, and this is the Laura Ward part of it coming in to flesh out the EYP thing, but thinking of as allowing like yum, like surrender can be delicious, like, ooh, yeah, I can let go. I can go down and in. So just offering you that, think about that surrender of the orgasm, or surrendering into a love affair, surrendering into something that is good. And of course, there's the shadow side, like, oh, I surrendered again. Like, can we play with that also? Like, oh no, I gave it all up again. And I think that in this EYP, the choice is, it's called active surrender, to offer that we can always grab back on. We can surrender and then we can get back up on the horse. We don't need to stay like, oh, I've surrendered everything and now it's over. No, you can come out of it whenever you want. Patricia, what do you think in yoga?
Yeah, I will share something that I did, and it's Laura might get to it at the end. We use the micro poses for EYP poses. So it's like you don't have to go into the full pose when you're like walking down the street, and you can use like a small version of it so that it triggers in you and both the awareness but the body response of that state that we're wanting to create more of. So when I was guiding a yoga session that would be like very deep and very surrendery, like I even sometimes had like the lights down and, you know, candles, so that like the energy was already pulling you a little bit downward. Somebody wrote that I in the pose, in the surrender pose, I could feel the floor pulling me, right? There's a very important element of that gravity and that earth. So I know that it's not always easy to go into those sessions. And one of the things that I did, which is sort of like an EYP micro pose and the use of this in yoga, I had, and I kept it even from that session. I kept it in my room where I teach, a little bowl with cotton balls. And it's like, these are the things in your life that you really need to control and that you have in your head. So just take as many as you want. I place the ball in the middle of the room and then just put them on the side of your mat. They're gonna be there. Like make sure that gives you like the security that if you still want to fill your head up with stuff, it's still there. And whenever you're like deep in the pose, look, and you're starting to feel uneasy, it's there. You can pick it up. You can take that control back again, all of that worriness. And if that makes you feel safe, go ahead and know that, oh, it's there. I can always take it back. It's not going anywhere. And it's just a small representation, but everyone shared that it's so helpful that, like I told you, I kept that ball and it's still there and I use it whenever it's needed.
Well, that's great. That's wonderful. It's like, I mean, it sounds magical to me. Like, you know, it's like we're transferring these ideas into another object. And I notice when I'm meditating that I have a couple of modes. One is planning and the other one is analyzing. Like, and I don't even mean judging. I just mean like sort of map making and planning. And when I can go, let that go, drop the ball, let it go, surrender. That's like the inner dialogue to let go of this stuff. Like, but it doesn't go away. It's a continual play, right? So I just want to ask one question. How can you do surrender wrong? Is there a way to surrender wrong? Unconsciously. Yeah, that's not active surrender. That's like, oh, laziness, collapse. Yeah, fear, or like, not taking it in, right? I think that overwhelm, right? Maybe that, but also like, I have to say when I'm in overwhelm, sometimes like just taking a little bit of time to actually do something really like clean the dishes or something that is earth-based, which to me is kind of like a kind of surrender, or earth and water. I can play with those elements and be like, okay, I'm coming down. Landing, checking out. Yeah. My hips and thighs tried to open too widely, so I had to adjust. Yeah. All of these poses, like, remember, this is an idea for a surrender. So if we were like in a room with other people, like you could do this at dinner, your hands can be under the table, palm up. This is like receiving pose. And you can just bow your head, like letting go into that. So why don't we try it for a second? Just bowing your head and just give yourself a little, like a little, You can let that go. It can just be for a second. So I feel like part of what the does is give us more sensation inside of our bodies. And also can sort of be like, it's okay. Minute to discern what's happening. Could you surrender while you were walking? If you are capable of moving, maybe get up for a second and see how would you surrender in walking. For me, I slow down. I'm not going to run and surrender. I'm going to walk slow, and my gaze is kind of down and soft. And I'm going to really feel the ground underneath me. So I'm going to use the gravity, that holding of gravity connecting me to the earth to let me drop down into it. It feels meditative. It feels liturgical, and I'm a total pagan. So like there is a kind of ritual, I think, to finding the surrender in myself. How about for you guys? Did anything come up that you noticed in that? And I think also, as we're heading towards the end of this, are there any questions? I would run full speed to surrender if I was moving. I like that. It feels like surrender to me, at least because it's what my body wants to do. Interesting. Yeah. It can be different, and it can also be different every day. Every day is a different day in your body. That's one of my favorite things to say. Then we can come to it fresh, new each time. And then that allows us to release some of the patterning or some of the tensions or some of the ideas that may not be serving us in the future. So I feel like for that idea of growth, what can we surrender that might be holding us back? Maybe parts of our ideas of ourself. Maybe it's how we feel about ourselves. Maybe there's some relationship to self that could be surrendered. Or I'm surrendering this thing that I really love to do that other thing that I really love, right? There's this, it can be discerning. I can let go of something. I can give something away. I can surrender some of my power to Patricia because it feels good and we can be in this relationship, right? So I don't have to say everything. And I can trust the field that if there's something that needs to be said, somebody's going to say it. I don't have to hold it all. I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to come here as the super duper expert that can tell you and solve all your problems. I can't. Right? Nobody can. Only you can go in there and feel what each of these things is for you. How could you do it laying down? I think I was actually going to start this whole session with the idea of just imagining what surrender is, right? Our brains have such capacity to inform our bodies and vice versa. So can you imagine laying down? Actually, there's another tarot card that I think is kind of a good surrender one. It's the Four of Swords. There's a person laying down. There's some swords on the wall, and it's another surrender because you can't do anything. So like coming into that, I think also anytime that, you want to close in the front, soften, hands on can really help. A hand on your belly, a hand on your heart. It might not be the floor, but it can give you that sense of connection, right? That if you were in child's pose, you could be touching down, so these are ideas and archetypes that you make a relationship with and use in whatever way works for you, right? So it's not the Laura Ward way or anybody else's way, the EYP way, even. It becomes yours. And so that's the other thing about this. It's what you put in is what you get out, right? And it doesn't mean you have to put in effort. It could be you're putting in non-effort. You're putting in presence. You're putting in awareness. You're putting in a great conversation with 3 other amazing women to find out, where is this for us? So, I mean, it could be all these different things. So surrender was really enriching for me because, as you can see, I'm a very fiery person. I'm a very airy person. So coming down to the ground for this and coming into the earth to be present with you in a way that we can talk about surrender was like a huge gift for me. So anything there? Oh, somebody asked about, are we allowed to put our websites on here, Steve? This is EYP promotion, not self-promotion, but you can always find me on Facebook. And my website is Laura at lauravward.com. So, and I actually don't teach yoga. I teach a mat class, a somatic mat class that has a lot of yoga in it, but it's not straightforward yoga.
There was a comment on the chat. I liked integrating the breath into the pose. It allowed me to surrender more. So this is something that could also be used within a yoga class or your classes, right? the use of the breath with the intention and that exploration of creating that state.
And with the sleeping thing, I would also say, like, you could use the cotton balls and just ask, is there something that I'm not letting go of? Put them beside the bed, and then like let yourself go into that. Let yourself surrender into the bed. So, I mean, it doesn't have to be that you're in child's pose. It could be in any position.
Yeah, with the cotton balls, for one of the yoga classes, we actually began, or at some point we went into this child's pose or balasana or the surrender pose, and they held their balls, their cotton balls in their hands, and like feel the safety of that. I mean, for some reason, we're not letting go for some valid reason, right? It's not because we're stupid. That's not really why we're doing it. And then from that space, from that conscious awareness of what I'm doing, the safety of the feeling of holding on to that, then the choice of letting that go or not. Like I cannot go into surrender yet because there's things that I need to do still.
Yeah.
And that can take you into a different path, right? And both are valid depending on who you are, where you are, what you want, right?
One more thing just to touch into is be kind to yourself, right? Be kind to your clients. Do this with a place from the heart, from the loving kindness place. And trust that, you know, a lot of these patterns, a lot of these things, they served to get you to this moment now. And they may not be serving you more, but like the things that we're holding on to, there's a reason you're holding on to them. It's not because you're a bad dog. It's because you've learned to be this way. So maybe you can start to play with learning different possibilities. And you can always go back, right? That's not true. You can never go back. You're only going one way. But you can, you know, evolve with it. All right. Steve, anything from the other side? Are there any other things that we should know about?
No, everything's looking pretty good. I've sent most of the comments through to you, so you've answered them nicely.
So as we're coming to a close, maybe to wrap up everything that was brought up, what Laura shared, what every one of you experienced, would you mind sharing some insights that you got that you would like to share, or something that you got from this session that you really want to stick with, something that you might share with someone, a friend of yours, something that you find like a piece of a valuable information, a valuable experience? If you would like to share that on the chat, and maybe Laura would like to take that.
I'm going to say one thing because I got 3 poems from Brooke and I want to share this last one. It's very short. It's called Swoon. Eternity will always love urgency, but urgency must grow up before she thinks to lie down with eternity in his warm and endless night, and there find her most radiant face. Yeah, so that's Brooke McNamara. She's amazing.
So we have great insights and sharing on the chat. Do you want me to read it out loud?
No, I see it. I'm looking, and it says one is a great one is how to disconnect surrender with weakness if it feels connected. I think by moving into a more active position and then deciding when it feels right to let go, like so that you really come into choice and agency, so that the surrender isn't weak, it's choice. It's coming from the intelligence of your body. How can you tell when it's time to come to one out of surrender mode? Listen. So, I mean, I think a lot of, I'm in all these embodiment things. Listen to your body. Ask, am I ready to come out? No. Am I ready to come out? Oh, get the hell out of this thing right now. Do something totally different. It could be saying anything, but listen. Listen to what the impulse is. Now I don't see any more questions. Are there any that you see that I haven't seen?
No questions, just
surrender.
Comments. Yeah.
Go ahead. Oh yeah, so Roxy said for clients, micro movements of surrender. I enjoyed the cotton ball idea and being kind, starting from yang to yin, using the breath. I also like the hands. Can you surrender in your face? Can you surrender in your hands? Can you surrender in your arms? Can you surrender in your spine? Can you surrender in your feet? Can you surrender in your guts? I'm thumbs upping Steve. Thank you, everybody. It was such a pleasure to have your wonderful faces and bodies here with me, and Patty and Steve. And yeah, so share if you know people that might need this kind of stuff in their life or could benefit from it, which is really everybody, but not everybody's on that page. Not everybody's willing to do it. But if you have people or friends or family members or colleagues, whatever, put it out there, because it's this world needs some healthy body change.
Thank you. Yeah, we sometimes need that little push or shove sometimes, right? Thank you, Laura. I think I speak for many of you that this was a very insightful session, and definitely lots of practical takeaways. I love that all of you got, from what I read from all of your sharing, you got to experience something that EYP is a very body experience, and the body has, and it's very directed, like the questions, the poses. So you get those insights and those, oh, I need this here, I need this here. So it's like a call to action or non-action, but it's like an immediate experience. And this is one of the things that most of us who work with EYP really, really love and appreciate for ourselves and for our clients. So again, as we mentioned at the beginning, we would like to offer a free spot for someone who would be interested in the EYP teacher training, and it's gonna be a competition. So all you gotta do is tag a friend on the Facebook post that the link's gonna be showing up on the chat. Yeah. Great. So if you get a chance to check out on the links, you can get access to one of the trainings that are there. There are different types of trainings depending on what you're looking for. You could find it for as a yoga teacher if you're trying to integrate this in your yoga experience, as we sort of like showed with little examples today. There's also an option for coaches if you would like to integrate this into a somatic experience for your clients, which is super helpful. And I've been using it ever since. I mean, there's always like a natural response to integrate the body into this, but EYP helps you be very like concise and know what to apply when and at what moment. So it's really, really helpful. And if you buy any of these packages, you will get all of the recordings of the EYP series that we've been having this week. We've been having 5. Yeah, those are the packages. Thank you, Steve. We've been having 5 sessions or 5 poses or 5 classes a day. So you would get access to all of that on either one of the packages. Yeah. So take a moment to look at the options. There might be something that you find interesting. And also if you find it that it might be helpful for someone else, someone you know, go ahead and share that. That's super, super useful. Yeah, and one of the things that you would also get access to if you buy any of these options is the access to community. So if you're on the live stream or watching a recording, you would get to interact live with us, as many of the people who have been signed up for some of the earlier trainings are already here. And it's one of the most amazing communities that I've found along this path. So I would definitely see that as a big, big value for any of you who might be interested. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for supporting this free offering. And of course, to make this accessible, we would really appreciate if you would help share and make this accessible to someone who might be interested or would benefit from that. So thank you so much, Laura, for your presence, for your wisdom, for sharing. Thank you, Steve, for your support. Thank you, all of those people that Laura mentioned that I saw influence what Laura shared with us today. And thank you, everyone who joined today and who will be joining in the future. We are so happy to have you with us. Next session is gonna be, I had it in my mind, but it's inspiration pose, be uplifted. Tess is gonna be teaching that at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 2 a.m. UK time. Yeah, so everyone who wants to get a taste of inspiration, be sure to check that out. Tomorrow we're gonna have no pose. That's one of the most popular and almost like you have to have that. So yeah, definitely invite you to check the schedule for the rest of the week. Thanks everyone for showing up.
Thank you guys. Thank you, brave souls in the Zoom room.
Surrendering for the brave.